Welcome back to Yankee Diff here on Ascendus TV, Season 1, Episode 2, where the Yankees have just finished up their series victory against the Seattle Mariners 2-1. They have today off, as this is being recorded on Thursday, April 2nd, and then start their home opener series against the Miami Marlins. By the way, special thank you to everyone who came out to watch the games with me over on Twitch. We had several nights where we were either close to or over 100 live viewers, and looking back at the VODs, actually, the total views were actually pretty amazing. We had 1,500 on Monday, we had 1,000 on Tuesday, and 350 yesterday, though yesterday, admittedly, I started late because I just got the time wrong. So, again, I apologize for that. But there's a bit to go over, so let's start with Game 1. Ryan Weathers against Luis Castillo. And I said on stream, I'll say it again here, the Mariners' rotation is absolutely stacked. What does it tell you where Luis Castillo, a longtime ace and front man for the Reds and the Mariners now through his career, is your number 5 guy? But when you look at who's in front of him, it makes sense. Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Brian Wu, all three of them have legitimacy to be aces on most other teams in baseball. And then they also have Emerson Hancock, who's supposed to be just a fill-in while Bryce Miller recovers from injury. But Hancock was fantastic in his start as well. So that's a heck of a guy to have as just a fill-in. But I digress. Yankees debut for Ryan Weathers, who went 4 1/3. He didn't pitch badly, just gave up 1 run on 4 hits. He walked 2, but struck out 7, had a good fastball. His breaking pitches didn't look particularly great, but his control was definitely off for a lot of the night, but generally not a bad start. It was actually, it was very similar to what Will Warren did before him when Warren pitched against the Giants. The bullpen was largely solid. Fernando Himothy Cruz has been an absolute gem so far in the bullpen. Tim Hill was great. Brent Hedrick ran into a little trouble, but was saved by Camilo Duvall, and we'll get back to Duvall in a bit. And even Paul Blackburn, and I know we're going to have a whole section on him shortly, but Paul Blackburn was decent. He was brought in just to try and get some length in a tied game, and he allowed only 1 run. Unfortunately for him, the 1 run he allowed was the go-ahead winning RBI single by Cal Raleigh in the bottom of the 9th, and the Mariners won 2-1. But this is what confused me. It's the Yankees' first loss, and I'm sure it's a gut punch loss. No one likes to lose. But immediately, I go to Twitter for my scorecard upload and recap, as I've done for pretty much every game so far this year. And I see Blackburn's name and Aaron Boone's name trending on Twitter. And of course, I go ahead, I check it out, and it's all baseball armchair managers burying them, saying Aaron Boone punted the game by leaving in Blackburn instead of putting in David Bednar. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, and this might get me under fire, but the truth is the truth, that is an L take. It's a bad take. Straight up. You want to know why it's a bad take? Let me repeat what I said before. Paul Blackburn gave up 1 run. 1 run. In an inning and a third. And yes, that run matters because it was the game-winning run. But do you not understand how it's such a bad overreaction to bury Paul Blackburn and somehow Aaron Boone in how and why they lost that game? Like, are you all just ignoring the fact that the Yankees offense just didn't show up that night? The Yankees offense scored 1 run. 1 run. I know MLB has Luis Castillo giving up, I think they had it at 2 or 3 hits, but on my scorecard, those hits given up by Castillo should not have been hits. They were errors by either himself or his infield. And on my scorecard, and I uploaded this as well, take this as you will. If you want to listen to mine, if you want to listen to MLB, whatever. But from my scoring, the Yankees were hitless through 6 innings. Even if you go by MLB scorers where they have only 2 or 3 hits, they didn't score against Luis Castillo at all through 6 innings. He was fantastic. Castillo looked really, really good, and I get it. I am not trivializing his effort. But the Yankees also simply did not show up. They barely clawed a run in with a double by Ben Rice and a sacrifice fly by a pinch-hitting Ahmed Rosario, who, by the way, they brought in and pinch-hit Ahmed Rosario because they thought that he would be facing the lefty pitcher Luis Ferrer. And instead, after the pinch hitter was announced, the Mariners went to the bullpen and countered with a righty pitcher. So Rosario was already at a disadvantage, and he still managed at least a sacrifice fly. But that was it. The Yankees' offense did not show up that night. They got 3 hits, and they were all after the 6th inning. The closest they came to scoring, aside from that sacrifice fly, was a double by Stanton in the 9th, where Chisholm then grounds out to move the pinch-running Randall Grichuk to third, and then Ahmed Rosario, once again facing a righty, struck out to strand the runner at third. The Yankees just didn't hit. That's not Paul Blackburn's fault. That's not Aaron Boone's fault. And so the next argument was, well, why didn't Aaron Boone put in David Bednar? Why did he leave Paul Blackburn in there? David Bednar, and I said this on the last episode, just had 2 very shaky appearances against the San Francisco Giants in a series that they swept against the team whose offense also just never showed up. Bednar went scoreless, but he was relatively shaky. And it's a tie game in the 9th. Why would you bring Bednar in? If the game goes to the 10th, and there's the ghost runner at second, then I can understand it. It would make more sense to bring Bednar in. But it's the 9th. There's no ghost runner. It's a tie game. You're looking for length. And Paul Blackburn is a guy who can give you more than just 1 inning. And if you're expecting perpetual perfection in baseball, where you are just absolutely running amok and wanting to bury someone like Paul Blackburn for giving up 1 run, if you are expecting perfection in baseball, then this game is simply not meant for you. But that was just mind-boggling to me. And I already know, in saying that, when people hear this, they're going to think I'm some kind of Aaron Boone or Brian Cashman apologist. If that's what you think, then you clearly don't know who the hell I am. Because I have been strongly and loudly vocal against both Boone and Cashman's decision-making over the last 6 or 7 years. In fact, Cashman's been it even longer. That's closer to about 12 or 13 years. When he was signing guys like Brian Roberts or Travis Hafner or Kevin Youkilis or Reed Brignac or Troy Tulowitzki. Like, if your go-to reaction when hearing that this wasn't Boone's fault is that I'm a Boone suck-up or apologist, then you don't know me. And I have to question if you actually know the game of baseball. Which is fine if you don't. But then don't pretend that you do. But that's game 1. Moving on to game 2, and game 2, honestly, there's not a whole lot to go into. Game 2 was the Yankees all the way through and through. Max Fried, absolutely fantastic. Through 7 shutout innings, allowed just 3 hits, a walk, a hit batter. He struck out 6. The offense got going from the first inning, went quiet for a bit. But when Cal Raleigh and the Mariners defense once again completely disappeared, Cal Raleigh unleashes a throw into center field when I believe it was Cody Bellinger was trying to steal second. Trent Grisham scores. Bellinger moves to third. Ben Rice, I believe, either walked or got a base hit. I believe Ben Rice walked. But then the Yankees were at least able to take advantage. They score 3 more runs and then go on to win 5-0. Not much to go into. Game 3, though. Oh, boy. Now, I will say again, I didn't see the first 2 innings of Game 3. I just saw that Ben Rice had an RBI double to put the Yankees on board. I did see, however, that Cam Schlittler looked absolutely brilliant yet again. And the Yankees gave him a little more leeway with his pitch count. He did pitch into the 7th, but you have to remember, this guy's coming off a back injury. He missed most of spring training, and he's still working. He's still getting built up. Paul Goldschmidt, who I didn't even know was getting the start at first, while Ben Rice got a half day being the DH, they just sat Stanton, even against the righty starter. But Paul Goldschmidt came through with a big 3-run home run to put the Yankees ahead 4-0, and then they go into the 8th seemingly cruising. And then in came Camilo Doval. And folks, let me preface this by saying Camilo Doval looked pretty good in his first 3 appearances. He was a little shaky in his first game against San Francisco. In his second game against the Giants, he was utterly dominant and struck out the side. And then on Monday against the Mariners, he faced one batter and he got him out. So he's looked pretty good going into yesterday. But yesterday, he was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Ground out, single and stolen base, single, strikeout, walk. He loads the bases with Cal Raleigh coming to the plate. Cal Raleigh is the tying run. Aaron Boone goes to Bednar to try and get out of it. Brings in David Bednar with just 1 out in the 8th. And while thankfully it wasn't a grand slam, David Bednar still allowed a 2-run single. Both runs charged to Doval to cut the lead in half before striking out Julio Rodriguez. But now it's 4-2. They go to the 9th. Ben Rice, who has just been absolute Giga Chad status, both offensively and defensively so far for the Yankees, hits a solo home run. It's his first of the year, and now it's 5-2 going into the bottom of the 9th. David Bednar goes back out. Ground out, double, ground out, RBI single. It is now 5-3. Cole Young comes up as the winning run. And thankfully, Cole Young flies out to Judge. The Yankees win 5-3. They take the series 2-1. But general thoughts on the series were, I think, could be summed up as, oh my God, that was such a sloppy, chaotic clown fest of a series for both teams. Games 1 and 3, I can guarantee you that the Yankees are not happy. I'm not happy. Game 1 was very winnable for the Yankees. And Game 3, yesterday, was very losable. And for Seattle, Game 2 was very winnable. But Seattle's defense was just absolutely awful. Like, I have to say, I don't think I have ever seen a worse defensive third baseman than I have seen in Brendan Donovan so far. And mind you, I remember when the Detroit Tigers tried moving Miguel Cabrera back to third base because they got Prince Fielder to play first. And it still felt like Brendan Donovan has been way worse. He made, I want to say, 4 or 5 errors in the series. Not across the season. In the series. Completely unforced errors. Missing pop-ups. He can't make throws to first. Balls were popping in and out of his glove on ground balls. He looks atrocious. He looks disgusting. And I say this, going into this season, I was a huge Brendan Donovan spokesperson and salesman, especially for his work at second base with the Cardinals. And for Mariners fans, please know, I'm fairly unfamiliar with the Mariners and their prospects. I was only told on Monday or Tuesday that their top prospect, Colt Emerson, is officially starting to play third in AAA. And I see and I get that Cole Young, who is, I keep calling him everyone's favorite Mortal Kombat protagonist, Cole Young has looked absolutely terrific at second base. He was putting on a clinic, both offensively and defensively. He has been a shining star for the Mariners. So I can understand why they would want to keep him there. And I also see how and why the Mariners want to keep Brendan Donovan in the lineup in any way they can. He has looked fantastic offensively as well. I get it. But this team actively traded for a proven commodity in Brendan Donovan at second base. He looked really good at it, when he was with the Cardinals, while also looking historically bad whenever they put him to play at third base. The guy looked better when he was put in the outfield. He looked better when they put him at first. They have the data available. They have numbers, they have videos, they have graphs, they have all this data available in a very data-driven world. They know he is utter crap at third base. Why did they trade for him just to make him play his worst position? Why? He's still a really good hitter. He's having a really good start offensively. But he's literally costing them games playing third base. Now, J.P. Crawford is coming back. He should be activated tomorrow, according to the Mariners writers, which means Leo Rivas will no longer be starting at short. But there's absolutely no shot you keep Donovan at third, right? You can't put him in the outfield over a guy like Victor Robles, a guy who's hitting 200? And again, look, I don't know the team dynamics enough. I'm a Yankee specialist. So if I'm wrong, please correct me. But from an outside perspective, if you know that Brendan Donovan at least has better numbers as a fielder in the outfield than he has ever had at third base, and after an absolute atrocious showing at third this series, why would you not just put him in the outfield and have Victor Robles on your bench as your fourth man? Heck, put Leo Rivas at third until you know Colt Emerson's ready. But you can't keep putting Donovan at third. He's literally costing you games. As for the Yankees, their bottom of the lineup needs to wake the hell up. Because it feels like no matter who you put there, it has been terrible. Ryan McMahon looks just as bad, if not worse, than he did last year when the Yankees got him. So whatever work he was supposedly doing to close his stance and cut down the strikeouts during spring training, whatever he tried to do so far has backfired. He looks awful. And he doesn't look that great defensively either. He's short-hopped almost every single throw he has made to first. Thankfully, he's been saved by either Ben Rice or Paul Goldschmidt scooping up every single one of his throws. Jose Caballero has, looked good initially when he was playing against the Giants, but he has since fallen off. And I know he's kind of just a stopgap until the Yankees get back Anthony Volpe, who has started and progressed in his rehab. He's officially facing live pitching. Not game action yet, but he's seeing, live at-bats at the rehab complex in Tampa. But Caballero hasn't looked that good. Austin Wells has looked lost. And by the way, on the topic of Austin Wells, I had to laugh yesterday because Austin Wells, from spring training through the regular season, and I don't know if this was so much the case last year, but Austin Wells has given me the impression so far that, let's remember that everyone was very high on him about him being a very good defensive catcher, especially for his receiving and his framing, right? Everyone was very, very high on his defense. So why is it that as a hitter or as a defenseman, why does it seem like he doesn't know what the strike zone is. He is making hilariously bad ABS challenge attempts. He's getting into verbal spats with Josh Naylor over an ABS challenge and then looks like an absolute idiot when he is proven very wrong. And then to top it off, he's an automatic out whenever he comes to hit. He had a good game on opening night in San Francisco. He got 2 hits, but since then, he has just been nowhere to be found. And Jazz Chisholm. All right. I'm going to keep saying it, and I know I'm going to continue to get into hot water, but I'm also very well aware that this is basically where a lot of my content and interaction comes in. But I'm going to keep saying it because it keeps being argued with me about it every time I'm on stream. Jazz Chisholm does not look like this fabled, mythical, so-called top second baseman in Major League Baseball. He just doesn't. He made a bonehead play when he was fiddling with his sliding mitt and got picked off at first after getting a base hit. He hasn't worked a single walk. He's striking out a ton. And look, I will be the first to defend him for his work at second base. He has looked very good defensively. He has made a number of really good plays. He has been playing Gold Glove level defense at second base. Absolutely. All the praise in the world for that. Zero arguments against that. But he needs to show up offensively. And he just hasn't yet. Aaron Judge has played worse. Aaron Judge is having an abysmal start to his year this year. Aaron Judge had an abysmal start to his year last year through the month of April. But the reason I'm not harping as bad about Judge as I am about Chisholm is because people know, and he's proven, that when he shows up, he's the best player in baseball. Not just the best outfielder, not just the best hitter, not just the most powerful, the best player in baseball. But people have been hyping up Jazz Chisholm for years, even in his time with the Marlins. And he just hasn't proven to me that he's the same big shot ball player that people say that he is. I don't see it. I don't think he's proven it. And people will point to his WAR last year, his 30-30 season. That's all well and good. I'm not taking away from that. But to call a guy who hit 240, whose career high batting average is 256, and who fairly consistently misses time due to injury, that's the guy that you say is the second best baseman in baseball? Really? Over Nico Horner? Over Bryce Terang? Over Ketel Marte? Call me crazy, but I don't see it. I'm not sold. And I've also said this on stream, on my post. I'm on record numerous times saying I want to be proven wrong. I want Jazz Chisholm to prove me wrong. I want him to prove that he is the best second baseman in baseball. I want that to happen. I'm a Yankees fan. He's on the Yankees. I want him to do well. And if and when the day comes and he shuts me the hell up, I'm not going to be mad or grumpy about it. I'm not going to try and make excuses. I'll be ecstatic. But you can't say I am so in the wrong and so crazy and so ignorant for being skeptical, given what he's done over the course of his career. And people want to overrate him, and I call it out. But I will also call out when people try to move the goalposts when I do argue against it. For example, I point out that he has a lower WAR than other players who also played full season. Well, people will respond with, well, Jazz would have had a higher WAR if he played a full season, but he didn't, because he hasn't. I don't give a damn about what you think would happen, because it didn't happen. It never has happened. You can't argue that. You can't use that as a foundation for justifying why Jazz Chisholm is the best second baseman in baseball. That's not how reality works. Or if I use Baseball Reference WAR, and then I'm told, oh my God, you're using B WAR. No, no, no. You got to look at F WAR. You got to look at this. You got to look at that. Shut the hell up. Let him go out and prove that he's the best in baseball. Let him do it. I do not have the time on every stream and in every video to try and justify what I actively see with my own eyes. Let him prove me wrong. Let him be the one to show up. And when that happens, then I'll shut up. Until then, I don't care what any of y'all say. Because it just seems to me like you live in a different reality. And until I'm proven otherwise, I will continue to call it out, especially if it's actively hindering this team. Whether it's in April or whether it's in August or whether it's in October, I will continue to call it out. That's what casters do. That's what analysts do. That's what baseball minds do. So let him shut me up. I don't need y'all trying to shut me up. It's not going to work. With that, time for me to step down from the pulpit and to look forward again. The Yankees are starting a new series. It's their home opener. They'll first host the Miami Marlins before they faced the Athletics, who, by the way, the Marlins are also 5-1. So both teams are coming in rolling going into this series. I think it'll be a really good series. Game 1 is scheduled to be between Will Warren and Eury Perez. And the game is scheduled to start at 1:35 Eastern, which means I will be starting my stream at around 1:25, 1:30 to get settled and ready. And with all of that said, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe here on the YouTube channel for new videos every day, and please think about heading to my Twitch channel to follow and subscribe so you can get instant notifications of when I go live. You don't have to worry about ads for the remainder of the month of April, and just to watch the game together and just have a good time. So until then, thank you again. I'll see y'all tomorrow.